Peace of the Lord be with you. This is the Son of the Most Sorrowful YouTube channel. And today we're going to talk about finding joy in suffering. So, suffering is the way and the means by which we grow really close to God. And it is really the hammer that beats us into sanctification and purity and growth and virtue. You know what I mean? Because as the classic saying says, no pain, no gain. Therefore, if it doesn't hurt, you can't really hope to gain much in your spiritual life or advance spiritually. So, how do we find joy in the suffering? You know what I mean? The first thing that I tell myself is like, hey man, it's just temporary. Like what you're going through right now, it's going to come to an end and there's going to be a time to rejoice. Okay? That is assured. So I feel like for me and my mindset, that has helped me. And I'm the kind of person that when in the past I go through really tough situations or situations that are like prolonged suffering, I immediately go to the drink, or I immediately go to the cigarette, or I immediately go to the blunt or the pen or whatever. So it's difficult, I understand, to keep your head leveled, but that's why I really like St. Francis of Assisi, right? St. Francis of Assisi, a really heroic saint that he was going to be a textile, he was going to be a knight, but he comes from his father being a textile merchant to the royals, okay? So he got to a point where he just left everything behind for God, and he embraced poverty. You know, he declared that he was married to poverty as if though he was his wife. And there was a lot of things that St. Francis endured in his sufferings. I heard in one story that he was beaten and thrown in a ditch and left for dead. And that as soon as the guys had left, he jumped out of the ditch joyfully praising the Lord. You know what I mean? And there was another. St. Francis is just so heroic, man. He really. I'm reading this book. I keep talking about it, but it's Trustful Surrender to Divine Providence, where somebody tells St. Francis of Assisi, it's like, hey man, you should like ask the Lord to take it easy on you, and just like that is not necessary for him to have such a heavy hand on somebody that loves him so much. And this guy, St. Francis, turns around and says like, if what you just said like wasn't something that I know you didn't say out of malice or malintent, like me knowing that you said this with like the best intention possible, like pretty much he's like, I'm not gonna like reprimand you, or I'm not gonna hold it against you. You know what I mean? But you should know that God in all his wisdom, if he chooses to lay an even heavier hand on me, like let his will be done. Like that is what I want, truly. You know? And it would be him that is glorified in doing such. And then he like rolls off his bed and starts kissing the ground and praying the Lord to basically like punish him at that moment. You know what I mean? And St. Francis is already like in a crippled, debilitated state, full of chronic illness. I think he's blind in one eye at this point. That guy suffered a lot, you know, and he was one of the most joyous saints. He was stigmatized. He had the wounds of Christ manifest on him physically. You know what I mean? So Saint Francis of Assisi is something, you know, it's important to think about the stories of the saints in times of suffering, right? You'll find a lot of encouragement there. There's a lot of saints that were very ill or that suffered incredible seasons of their life, man. Like St. John of the Cross is another one. He was actually in prison for a long time. and kept in the dark. You know what I mean? His cell was like underground, tucked away, and he was not seeing the light, man. He was in a dark place. And so St. John of the Cross is really amazing. One really cool story about St. John of the Cross is that he was also another one that towards the end of his life, he was very sick. He needed to be taken care of. And so they asked him, they're like, look, John, you've done a lot for the church. We really admire and respect your sacrifice. And it looks like you're on your last days. So we're going to offer you the opportunity to stay wherever you like. You know, and we'll make room and board for you, and you will be taken care of. And man, St. John of the Cross said, like, oh, please take me to this place. Where it was known that there was the headmaster there, or the person in charge, the head honcho, despised St. John, okay? And it was well known. So, you know, it was the kind of thing where they were like, John, you can go wherever you want. Are you sure? And he said, yes, put me there. Because I know he's going to... And St. John knew that if I go over there, that guy's going to neglect me. He's going to deny me my meals. He's going to make me miserable, you know. I need... You know, the saints understood that their longing to suffer was actually what showed God's favor in their life, to the point where they would actually become frightened and ask the Lord, is there anything that I have done wrong that you have departed me from my suffering? Okay. And sure enough, there he was, his last few years, I want to say. I don't know exactly how long he was in there. He was long enough to where the guy put him through the ringer, put St. John through the ringer, try to make him miserable, and it was to no avail, man. St. John just remained joyful, to the point where this guy repented of his sins and converted, you know, and had experienced a conversion. I'm sure he was already, because I think they asked him to stay at a religious establishment, you know what I mean, where like a monastic place. And so it was really incredible, man, when I heard that story. Or our Lord Jesus appeared to St. John and says, St. John, like, he didn't call him St. John, he called him John. You have lived in a way that is pleasing to me. So at this point, is there anything, I will give you anything you ask. What is it that you want? And John asked to suffer more for the Lord's on the Lord's behalf. The Lord, just let me suffer more for you, you know. And that's so amazing. You know, when I read stories like that, or when I have listened to stories like that about these wonderful saints, it really inspires me to do more penance, or to take on challenges in the spiritual life, especially in regarding suffering, regarding you know what I mean. To speak on my own personal life, right now my e-bike is down, man. I have to get that thing fixed, and it's just I can't go anywhere right now because of it. I have to go on foot. In me saying that, I have a dear friend who invited me to his birthday this past Saturday. It's now, what's today? Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. This past Saturday, he invited me to his birthday, and I really wanted to go. And I really was like trying to work hard to get my bike fixed on my own. I have tools, you know what I mean? I just don't have like the experience of like fixing bikes. Like I said, I want to get into fixing bikes. I've said it in other videos. But in the meantime, I'm still honing my skills. Excuse me. And so ultimately, I couldn't get my bike in order. I have the tube here. I have the bike tube here, so you can see this freak show of a bike tube that I have patched with paper and super glue. And you see this crazy patch job right here? It's like, dude, get another tube, dude. And I mean, I'm not working right now, so I can't really just get another tube like that, man. I have to try and patch this one up. I have patched this one up a couple of times already. There's another patch right there. And then here's the other patch right there. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. 3 patches on the same tube. We're living that Matthew 16:25, losing my life for Christ. You know what I mean? And so it wouldn't hold air, man. And even if it didn't hold air, I mean, even if it did hold air, the rim on my back wheel is it's untrue. So it's got a warp in it. It wobbles, like when it spins, it's going like it. Yeah, it has a wobble. So when it goes at 30 miles an hour, it's gonna shake the whole bike, man. It's no bueno. So you can rip the spokes apart like that. So I had to call my friend and I had to tell him, look, man, I'm sorry. I really wanted to go, but I'm just not able to go. And like, I tried to call one of my brothers on the off chance that he can give me a ride. I knew it wasn't likely, but it was like a moment of desperation that I had. And yeah, nobody answered. I called to see how much it was to take a taxi down there. And it was like pretty much all the money that I had. It was more than what I had at that time. And so I had to call my friend and tell him, look, man, I really wanted to be there, but I got a flat on my bike and I have no way of getting over there. So I'm sorry. Couldn't join you today on your special day, even though I really wanted to. He was very understanding, and he was like, you know, that's all right. We'll just have to get a one-on-one one of these days, you know. And to me, it was very meaningful that he said that. I wanted to call him and let him know, like, at least I'm calling you to wish you a happy birthday. I hope you have a good time. You know, I'm really sorry that I won't get to be there. And hung up the phone, man, and that really caused me to break down into tears, man. And I decided to just lift up my hands and say, Lord, like, I praise your mighty name. And I glorify you in this moment. And it was tough, man. It was tough. Like being alone, being like without a solution to my problems and like no one there to help. All alone. I was alone here in my dwelling at that day because everyone had gone out. It was Saturday. And so, yeah, I had that cried to myself for a bit. You know what I mean? And not too long after that, I felt better. It was like a few minutes of crying, but I felt better. I felt like I was with the Lord, suffering, you know. And the Lord never wastes his suffering. He never wastes our suffering. So, and the fact that I was with our mother most sorrowful, like, you know, in tears, there to accompany her, you know what I mean? In tears, there to accompany the good Lord in his sufferings. That really made me feel comforted, truly. And the next day I felt different. The next day I felt like, man, after that one, I feel like my mind is just stronger. You know what I mean? So finding joy in the suffering is also, once it's over, there's something to look forward to on the other side. Maybe it's not like a material consolation per se, but it is some kind of consolation. The spiritual consolations are the best, to where you're more fortified in virtue and you're more fortified in your determination to love and serve God. But yeah, truly, those are the ones that matter, as the spiritual ones, where you grow in virtue, where you become holier, and you have more inspired a deeper inspiration, a deeper strength within you to withstand the next trial, the next tribulation for God's sake, you know, for the sake of Jesus. So yeah, man, finding joy in the suffering. It's a little easier than you think if you allow yourself if you allow the Lord to take you to that moment of surrender, where you feel the joy in suffering for His sake. You'll get there. You'll find the joy in suffering. It takes a little bit of work at first, but if you let the Lord take you there, especially if you let our Blessed Mother take you there, it turns into greater things. This has been the Son of the Most Sorrowful, and this is the 50th video that I've made this year. I wanted to make at least 50 videos in closing the new year. So thank you guys for being with me. I look forward to many things on this channel. Just getting started. Focus of this video was just this putting out 50 videos was just to get kind of like what I'm about out there, and just kind of beat a dead horse with it and just see what happens, man. But we're learning. I want to continue to get better. I have a lot of plans for this channel. So for the glory of God, man, we're going to put the signal out there and see who picks it up. But yeah, this has been the Son of the Most Sorrowful. Wishing you a Happy New Year. Let's make 2026 a year to remember for the glory of the Lord. I pray that the peace of the Lord is always with you. In Jesus' name, and by the intercession of Our Lady of Sorrows, have a good one. God bless you.